Good evening, brothers and sisters, and welcome to another schizophrenic update. In this video, I wanted to share some goals that I have that these are goals that I know I can attain, that I know I can accomplish these goals, but it's going to take some work. And I hope by me sharing with you kind of where I want to go from here when it comes to my platform, my social media, my testimony, my walk with Christ, I hope that my goals and dreams inspire you to have your own. There are a couple podcasts that I want to try to be able to share my thoughts with. Bryce Crawford is one one brother who, he has an amazing testimony. It's very beautiful. He has shared his testimony in several different videos just about where he was mentally, when it came to anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts and how Jesus saved his life. So I very much would love to go on Bryce Crawford's podcast and for us just to talk about God, to talk about Jesus, and to share with one another those obstacles that we've overcome. So that's one podcast I want to get on to. Another podcast is by a sister named Nala, who again has a very beautiful testimony of being on OnlyFans and then quitting OnlyFans and following Jesus. Her podcast would be amazing to be on, so we can really just share with each other the changes we've made in our life, from where we started to where we are now and where we're going. I know that I could definitely learn some things from her when it comes to just walking with Christ. And so Nala's podcast, I would definitely want to be on. And then there's a third podcast. I always mess up his name, but I think it's Janko. His podcast would be amazing because he has shared in several videos of just the different trials and tribulations he's had to overcome. Whether it's about swearing and cursing, pornography, it had to do with obstacles when it comes to a relationship. And so his podcast would be one that I think we would have such a beautiful conversation about Jesus if I was on that podcast. And then there's a fourth show that it's called Schiz and Giggles, by a brother named Kody, I think Kody Green, and then Kat is the sister who is the co-host to that show. So it's Kody and Schiz, or Kody and Katz, I believe. But it's called Schiz and Giggles, and I would love to share with them and their audience, my journey when it comes to schizophrenia and the things I've had to overcome, the symptoms that give me the hardest, they give me a run for my money. It'd be wonderful to sit down with them and just for us to share our experiences when it comes to being schizophrenic. And so those are a couple podcasts. And then there's another one. I think it's called Two Girls and a Bible, I think. I always mess up the names, but it's two sisters who have a podcast together, and they talk about Jesus and, the work they've done when it comes to seeking a Christ-centered relationship, finding the right spouse, and they share their own struggles when it comes to walking with Christ and the doubts and the questions they've had. So their podcast would be another one that I want to get on to. But my goal for the rest of this year is to at least be on one of these podcasts by the end of the year. That's my goal. Whether it's Schiz and Giggles, whether it's Bryce Crawford, whether it's Janko. I think his first name is George Janko, I think. I want to be able to share my walk, my testimony with as many people as possible. And I know getting on those podcasts, sharing my walk with Christ with Nala on her podcast, I know it would get out to so many people. So it's really, for me, it's about spreading the good news, spreading the gospel, and sharing with other brothers and sisters that it's not the end for you. It's just the beginning. And your walk with Christ, yeah, it's going to be difficult, but it's also going to be one of the most fulfilling, joyful, beautiful relationships you ever have. So I just wanted to share with you guys my goal for the rest of this year. And I'm going to tag these podcasts in the description. I'm going to tag these podcasts in the description of this video. So hopefully they see this, and I hope that I can at least get a reply from one of the podcasts. Just one of them. So thank you for listening, brothers and sisters. And for the podcast that I mentioned, I would love to be on your show and to sit down with you and just talk about Jesus. So thank you guys so much for listening. God bless you, and have a wonderful afternoon, or a wonderful evening. Peace.